As Black people, I want to have a conversation with you guys about self-worth. Now, if you know me, I make it a point to not hone in on Black people's skin color. I make it a point to not speak to Black people like they're nothing more than just their skin color, because I feel like that's what's been done for centuries. And I intentionally and I actively participate in not identifying Black people by their skin color. I try to learn your culture. I try to learn your ethnicity. I try to learn your name. I try to learn your mindset. I try to learn who you are, because I've had experiences in my life where I have experienced things by a certain Black culture, for example, and that led me to believe that I need to think this specific way about the entirety of that culture. And it's through time, it's through bringing myself to God, right? Created me a clean heart, that I had to make sure that I deal with any stereotypes, any prejudices that were inside of me, so that I can be more effective in my communication, in my relationships with people. But however, with what's going on right now in society, I'm going to do something. I'm going to break protocol, and I'm going to have a conversation. And this conversation is going to be directed towards Black people, regardless of culture, regardless of ethnicity. Black people. If you fall in that race, this is for you. I want you to understand that the humiliation that happens publicly and in media against Black people, it's more than just intentional, it's spiritual. We have to understand the spiritual consequences to this so that we combat it. Because we may not be able, at least at this very moment, to change these corporations that are allowed to do this, where they're constantly barraging us with images and, things that are being said about Black people. We may not be able to stop that instantly. However, we have to ensure that we work on ourselves internally right now. Because when you are focusing on information that is humiliating Black people, that is devaluing them, when you are in that state, yes, you may feel like you just have an opinion. Yes, it may be a strong one. It may be a powerful one. But when that's constantly the information that you are engaging, what it does, that stuff is low vibrational. And because you're constantly engaging low vibrational, good in, good out, garbage in, garbage out. That means that you're taking in garbage, and that's being stored in your subconscious mind. So your self-worth and your self-image is all being impacted by constantly engaging this stuff that is dehumanizing to Black people. The echo chamber that we're living in is one of our biggest enemies. And when I was being set free by the grace of God, the echo chamber is what I needed to be set free from. This is what the echo chamber looks like. You turn on the news media, something negative about Black people. You're having a conversation with someone. It's about something happening with Black people. You drive in your neighborhood. There's, something going on with Black people. Everywhere you go, it's like the messaging about Black people is negative. That's an echo chamber that you're living in. So what's happening is it's like being inside of a room with speakers all over the place. And it's a constant loop that's saying Black people are this way. Black people are that way. They're unworthy. They're animals. They're savages. And in America, there are loudspeakers placed all over America that are essentially doing this constant negative message about Black people. And that's the dome that we live in. So the fight that we have and what we have to conquer is we have to train our minds to beat the echo chamber, because so many of you guys are suffering because the echo chamber has impacted your mind, your heart, your soul, and your actions. So your behavior matches someone that is lost in that echo chamber. So you see how I'm sitting here and it's clearly as bright as day. Imagine loudspeakers going off out of nowhere saying 9 p.m. time to go home, 9 p.m. time to go home, 9 p.m. time to go home. Me, because I'm consciously aware of daylight, I'm going to say to myself, it is not 9 p.m. They need to fix that. What's going on? That messaging is wrong. Like, who is saying it's 9 p.m.? I might try to call people and say, hey, listen, there's some loudspeakers outside saying that it's 9 p.m. And they're like, what time is it? Well, I don't have my watch on me, but I know it's not 9 p.m. because the truth is already programmed within me. So I'm not able to receive the lie. What happened with us is as kids, we were not programmed, many of us, with the truth. First of all, we're children, okay? We're malleable. We were not programmed with the truth, or it wasn't solidified or cemented in us the way that it need to be. So when lies were spoken to us about Blackness, and we're barraged with images on TV, and we're in school and they're saying, hey, guys, you were slaves. And then we're at home and parents or family members are probably angry about something that has happened to Black people. And you're hearing all of these sidebar conversations that's happening. And then you're at school and you're being bullied for who you are and where you come from. When all of these things begin to occur, we begin to buy into what the echo chamber is saying about who we are as people. And whether they're present in your life or not, this is the dome that our parents were raised in. And they did not get the amount of support that we're getting today where at least we're learning how much of a lie a lot of this is. You follow? So unfortunately for many of us, we were not raised by the best version of our parents. Clearly, how could they be? This is the dome that gave them messages about their self-worth that they ended up believing in. They were inside of an echo chamber the entire time that was telling them that they're worthless. They're not going to be anything. They should be afraid. They should be scared. Things are going to happen to them. God doesn't love them. They were a mistake. They're a curse, that they're at risk of things happen, things being taken away from them, life being taken away from them. They lived in a constant state of fear internally. These are the type of messages that they were raised under. But because they're still under the dome, functions are still occurring. They're still being intimate with their partners. They're producing children. And then now they're trying to protect us based off of the belief that they received from that echo chamber. So not only do we have to break free from what they believe and that they try to teach us, but then now we have to go a step further and we have to break free from what the collective beliefs that they're stuck in. And then we have to go even further and we now have to attach our minds to what God says about us. Guys, there's so much elevation that we need to do as a people to truly believe in the love God has for us. So what I'm saying to you guys is that there's a lot of healing that we need to do. But while we're healing as adults, we have to protect our children from that dome, because that dome that impacted us and impacted our parents, it still exists and it's getting stronger and more powerful. This is why I wrote the Black Child's Guide to Surviving America, was to equip parents for the different ways in which that dome and the different noises and the different things that are being said out of these different speakers and attacking our minds. This is also why I focus on our self-worth, especially with women, because I know how important it is for us to raise our vibrational frequency and to have a better view of ourselves, right? Not just of ourselves, but the world around us. Because the messaging, the echo chamber has taught us that we are always going to get the bottom of the barrel. We are always going to get less than. God said that he is not a man that he should lie. That when we believe in him and we put our trust and our faith in him, that he is our refuge, that we should think on those things that are good, things that are pleasing. You follow? We should think on things that are beautiful. But so many of us have had faith in God, but what has been repeating in our minds has been the negative themes from the echo chamber. So what ends up happening is we end up blaming God for what has been produced in our life, but what has been produced in our life is what we believed. So what I'm saying to you is that we have to believe in God more than we believe the messages in this echo chamber, even though there are people that have real impact in our real lives. There are real systems in place that truly do have the power to impact us. Even with all of these structures that have been built in this reality, we still have to use our minds to bend this reality to the will of God. Bend this reality to the truth of God's word. We have to do what we have to do to align our minds with God's word so that this reality that all of us are facing in different ways can shatter. So if you know your life needs like a total reset right now, right? It's like a full makeover. The makeover happens internally before it happens externally. So if you're looking for material resources to help you to do that internal makeover, I have plenty of resources that are in my bio that I intentionally curate and design to help you in that journey. And I'm going to continue to put out things to help you and support you in this journey. But guys, breaking free is a non-negotiable, because let me tell you this lastly. If 1,000 birds lined up right now and their legs were tied to each other, if one bird had the desire to fly within them, however, they feel like they're tied to this collective of birds, guess what's going to happen? No matter how much ambition, no matter how much passion, no matter how much desire is within them, they're going to remain stuck because their minds are attached to flying with the collective. You have to break free and feel comfortable. Feel comfortable breaking free by yourself. You have to enjoy just soaring as a bird. Because you have to understand, a lot of us are reflecting the image of the feathered animal we believe in. Some people look like eagles, some people look like chickens, some people look like ducks, some people look like geese. But you, however, what's inside of you, just like everyone else, is an eagle. But you have to be willing to separate yourself and go and fly and be who God called you to be. But so many of us are tied to animals that are not of our kind because, again, that's what the enemy wanted, to put us in prison so our gifts would not flourish the way God intended it to be. So one of the first things you're going to have to do is break free mentally, not only from the culture and the dynamics of your own household that you were raised in, but even the collective culture that you were raised in as a Black person. You're going to have to break free. And this is for all of us, regardless of what ethnicity, what culture, what background we come from. We all have that same thing that we need to do in order to be all that God called us to be. So with that being said, I love you guys. Y'all have a wonderful day. Okay.